Okay, fine. Nachamol. Shkoyach Bini, the thumbs up. Today's shir is a schis for Akivas Chachav Befega, for as if we're going for Chavas Mim, as if we're going for Uv Basmim, and as if we're going for Dovdari Ben Pinu Peril. We're going to say the thing. Mazel Tov again. We're doing very fast. Mazel Tov Moshe for $1,000. Mazel Tov Chesh Kosh for $1,000. And thank you very much for Hashi Rosenbaum for sponsoring the first $1,000 and the next $500, and the mitzvah to be $500 for the Chazar. Let's get into this year. Boom. Let's go. Sorry for the speed. This is just the third recording, so we're on. Let's go. How do you say? The 1.5. Okay. So at the end, when I did the weekly review, I missed the very last part. But anyways, we're going to do the Chazara from the Vishatzilas. Like we said, this is a new piece of the Mishnah, and like Moshe Yirad said at the end of Shir Thursday night, a very simple way to look at it is there are two Mishnahs. One says 50-50, we infer from it would be possible, and one from it we would infer 50-50 is kosher. So how do we have them both work out? The way to make it work out is, we say, if you look at the 50-50 from on top, that one can be kosher. Why? Because if it's 50-50 on top, then the bottom is going to be perfect. Now if it's 50-50 on bottom, then you say it's possible because exactly. So that's what it is. Finished, very simple. It's based, they're each looking at a different thing. One's looking at the coverage on top, one's looking at the bottom, and that is it. So let's do it inside, and then we're going to start the new Mishnah. Okay. But we see from this that if it is 50-50, it would be possible. We learned in the Mishnah in the first parak. And if the sun is more than the shade, psula. That what? So we infer from that it would be kosher if it would be the opposite. So, like kasha, kan, I just want to make this do not disturb. Kan milamata, like we just said, one is looking at the top, the coverage, and one's looking at the bottom, the actual sun and shade. Amar of Papa says, Hainu da'ami inshi, kizuza milael, and this, the way they describe it is, kizuza milael, ki'istra milatachas. These are both considered coins. One is looking down from the top, like we said, it's a zuz on top, and ki'istra is a bigger coin on bottom, that if the top has a little bit of shade, or a little bit of sunlight, it spreads out much more on bottom. That's simple, and we've all seen that. The next little portion, hamu'uva kimin bayis. Again, this is from our Mishnah. What is it saying? Hamu'uva kimin bayis, tanu rabbanon. We learned, hamu'uva kimin bayis, afa pisheni kachav nira mitaycha. Even if the stars cannot be seen from within it. If let's say you're inside the sukkah looking up, you can't see the stars. Why? Because it's as thick as the ceiling on top of you. Ksher, it's still kosher. Now it just wants to add one little portion. It says, if you cannot see the sun rays from within it, so it's mamish super thick. Beis Shammai poison or Beis Hillel machshirin. Beis Shammai says it's possible, and Beis Hillel is machshirit. And this is just letting you know that our Mishnah goes according to Beis Hillel because it says it's kosher. So very simple, just throwing in to let you know who's the one that's saying this Mishnah.
We always hold like Beis Hillel anyway.
Besides for 18 places, yes. There's 18 places that you have. Why? There's one day, I'm not sure, could be, but I from what I remember, it was 18. What happened was there's one day that the Talmidim Beis Shammai found out that the Talmidim Beis Hillel were less than they had. They ran into the building, they locked the doors, and they passed in 18 shah. They basically brought up 18 questions, they voted, and they won. And that was the end of it. And those were the stuff. Interesting stuff that they...
I know our Mishnah is maybe it's regular kachava.
It's very simple. Yes, it's adding this. This is... No, because that's what it's adding. It's adding that he's saying this. So you assume kshera, it's him. Very simple. Masnis, the new Mishnah. Now we're going to see a few pictures. The new Mishnah, what happened? You're good. Oh, you were on your... If someone makes his sukkah on top of a wagon, now this is not on top of the animal, this is on top of the wagon itself. So, I think there's no pictures in the back, but over here, you can't see it. We're going to post a picture. I don't know if I posted, I think I posted the picture. Yeah. Fine. So, I posted the picture on the chat. If it's on top of the wagon part, should not be a problem. Or on top of, and here, Rashi explains B'rosh HaSfina, on top of the high point of the boat. Why? Because the higher it is on the boat, the windier it is, which means it's much more of an aray. And if it's more of an aray, we're just trying to bring out a point. So we're setting up, the Mishnah is setting up the next part. So it's letting you know that it's the high point of it. Kshera, both these cases are kosher. And you could go on top of them in Yom Tov. Now, well, it's not muktzah. You could go on top of a wagon on Yom Tov, and you could go on top of the top of a boat. And you're going to see, but the Gemara is going to talk about the story with Rabbi Kiva, who was on top of the boat, and he had a sukkah over there. So now, Baroisha Ilan, if you put it on top of a tree, and like we saw in one of the pictures, on top of the tree means that you actually have a tree that's big enough that you could place an entire sukkah on it, like a clubhouse, a tree house, whatever it is, and just schach, and it's the right size. If you have something like that, oyal gabe gamel, or on top of the animal, the camel, and you put it on top of it, kshera, it's kosher, but the einon la b'yom tiv, you can't go on them on Yom Tiv. So what can you do? What does it mean kshera? For chalamoid, meaning on Yom Tiv, you're not allowed to go on top of it because it's muktzah. But on chalamoid, you would be allowed to go on top of it and use it. Shtayim be'ilan. So now, shtayim be'ilan. So now you have two on top of a tree, meaning when it says shtayim be'ilan, what's this talking about? That the floor, the platform, and if you look at the pictures, if you guys see the pictures, lamites, if you look at it, shtayim be'ilan, basically you have that the floor is resting, two sides of the floor is resting on the tree, and the third side is resting on a man-made wall, or shtayim be'ilan v'achas b'dei adam, or shtayim b'dei adam v'achas be'ilan, or the opposite, two man-made walls going up, holding the floor platform, and the third part of the floor is held up by the tree, right? Kshera, it's kosher. And again, you don't go on top of it on Yom Tov. However, if you have three made by man, meaning when it says made by man, you have three. Again, look at one of the last picture. What pictures? Mem Aleph, the picture of Mem Aleph in the Gemara in the back. If you look at it, you basically see three walls are fully from the ground going all the way up. Even though the last wall and floor is supported by the tree, you still have three walls, which will make it a kosher sukkah. And you could go on top of it in Yom Tov.
Well, what's the whole cloud?
It's about to say, right now it's about to say, we to move on to the next side. Zah klal, this is the klal. Kol she'inoto le'ilan, v'yichol lamed b'fnei atzmo kshera. In any case that you remove the tree, meaning you imagine you took away the tree, can it stand? If it can stand, it's kosher. You could go on top of it in Yom Tov. However, if you remove the tree in any case and it falls down, you would not. Random chiddush that it adds is that why doesn't it make sense? Why?
The first
It
case.
said 3, 2 and 1, right?
Right.
So if you remove the 3, so you have 2 more.
Yeah.
No, you have 2.
The first case mission doesn't make sense.
That's I'm about to say.
There's no such thing so you can hold on to.
Yes, it could. I'll tell you how. And it's about to show a chiddush. It shows two. If you have a sukkah like this, David. Perfect. Thank you. If you have a sukkah, this is the chiddush of the last part. It's not for us to look into right now, but this is the chiddush. If you have two walls, this is the sukkah walls, 1, 2, and you put the schach across it, it can hold it, technically it would be kosher. So it's giving you a chiddush, technically you'd be allowed to be able to go on top of it on Yom Tov. But right now, that's not what we're looking into. But yes, according to it, Zeh klal, if you could go on top of it, meaning if you could remove the tree, it will stand, you're good to go.
The first case, you could, if you remove.
No, but if you move
I trust the tree more than the man-made. The first case.
Yeah.
that's when you can't go on it.
You can't go on
You
it.
can, but no, but you should be able to because it's very strong. If you take
No, that's not the strong part. That's not the strong. It's a derabanan that they basically said they're concerned that you're going to rip off twigs. You're going to.
The main thing of
You made. It's muktzah. You're not allowed to go on a tree on Shabbos or Yom Tov. Yeah.
Is because it's not strong enough.
However, by the way,
That's the whole.
Aaron happens to be. Rashi says. However, there's a Rashi over here. Go look. You know. Look at Kshera. No. 1 second. Look at Kshera. Go to Kshera. Rashi Kshera. On Chav Beis Amud Beis, there's about 8 lines up. No. So 1 second. Va'af b'yom tiv im avar va'ala. If let's say he was over and he went up, by mistake he went up on top of it. Yatzi de chavase. He's yotza the mitzvah.
But can he go down?
La. If he goes up on it, he's yotza the mitzvah. So technically, you're allowed to. It's a derabanan. They made halacha. So they made halacha and they say a klal. They made halacha. They make a klal, and that's what it is. So right now, let's go back, do the quick chazara for the new part, and that will be it for today. And tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem, we're going to go into the Gemara, and there's going to be an interesting case on top of a boat and so on. If someone makes his sukkah on top of a wagon or on top of a boat, it's kosher. You can go on top of it in Yom Tov. However, if it is on top of a tree, or if it's on top of a camel, it's kosher. You don't go on top of it in Yom Tov. And like Rashi said, if you do, you get to the mitzvah, it's fine, no problem. Better not to. If you have two of the floors are held up by a tree and one by man, it's kosher, but you don't go on top of it in Yom Tov. And like Rashi says, but you could go on top of it on Chalmai, that's why it's kshera. Chalmai, you could go on it. But if you have three parts that are held up by man, meaning man-made walls, on one side is by a tree, kshera, it's kosher. Why? Because I would assume that it's so sturdy and so stable, you're not concerned of grabbing, and the way the picture looks like, it's mamish not even part of it. And you can go on top of it on Yom Tov. This is the klal. Anything that you remove the tree, and it is capable to stand on its own, kshera, it's kosher, and you go on top of it in Yom Tov. Rabbi Sai, thank you everybody for joining us on Zoom. There's a big turnout. Mamish 8 guys on Zoom, 10 guys in the house. It's beautiful that everybody made it out here. Keep on knocking. Let's do the chazaras and have a wonderful night. Moshe.
Ari, when I was talking
What?
about the